6:31 and time to bring this meeting to order. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Nevada City Council to order. Today is Thursday, July 28th, 2022, and it is now 6:31 p.m. Since you have it in front of you, Gary, would you like to do the land recognition?
Yes, thank you. Happy to do this. We acknowledge the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though they are nearly invisible and their story continues to be excluded from history. We understand we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the near genocide of their people. As a resident or visitor in Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people, as well as the campaign to restore tribal sovereignty through federal recognition.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to ask the new police chief to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind, Chief Voss. Ready? Salute. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gabby, would you do the roll call for us, please?
I will.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ceci?
Here.
Councilmember Klein?
Here.
Councilmember Peterson?
Here.
Vice Mayor Fernandez?
Here.
And Mayor Fleming.
Here. All right. I would like to note that Keith Collins from our city attorney's office is jumping in today remotely on Zoom in Dean's absence. Now I have to ask, okay. So, all right, we're going to adopt the agenda. Can I get a motion? Oh, wait, are there any modifications to the agenda? Does anybody need to modify anything? Would you like to make changes, pull consent items, or do we have any recusals to announce? Nope. Okay. I'm looking for a motion and a second to adopt the agenda.
I'll move adoption of the agenda.
Second.
First by Gary, second by Daniela. All right. And today we have some wonderful presentations. The city manager will be introducing new employees under presentations today. And I'm going to turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you. So it's a new year, a new council. We've hired a number of new employees, and unfortunately in Zoom land, we lost the opportunity to, even though we had a lot of communication, I don't know that it was full communication, and we certainly didn't get to see each other in person. So I want to kind of break that trend, and so starting tonight, introduce 3 of our newer employees. So first is David Scafani, if you want to stand up here, our newest public works or maintenance worker. So he moved to Nevada City in 5th grade. He's a graduate of Nevada Union. He's worked in the construction trade his entire adult life, and you might also recognize him for his second job working at Bistro 221 for the last 10 years. That's right. So if you ever want some good cooking on the weekend, you know, join him at his place. We'll soon have a complete full field crew for Public Works, but we look forward to David's hard work. If you come into town early in the morning, like I do at 7 or 7:30, you'll usually see him, you know, out on the street, emptying the garbages, cleaning the bathrooms, all the fun things that none of us want to do, but keep this city looking clean and amazing. And so we, you know, thank him for that. So I will, Mr. Mayor, with your permission, allow him to say whatever he'd like.
Sure.
Hi, good evening. I'm David Scafani. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be employed by this lovely city, Nevada City. I look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you, David.
David, I just have to say that I met David out on the street in front of the Crazy Horse one day, but during the, not last summer nights, the one before that, trash cans were overflowing. This guy had 2 bags in his hand. He was cleaning out these trash cans and just making the place look good and stopping that overflowing situation where you have people just throwing things on the ground. So thank you. Appreciate that.
And Nick Kendrick, who is listed on the agenda, is not here tonight, but we'll have him at a future meeting. So instead you get a 2-for-1. So we'll have 2 new police officers besides Nick. So first up is Officer Amy Freeman. Will join us at the lectern. She was a public safety dispatcher for 4 years before joining law enforcement for the last 17 years, sounds like, working both in Coalinga Police Department and the Los Rios Community College Police Department. She served in a whole bunch of roles. I'm not going to read them all to you, but some of them I think have incredible value to us. School resource officer, field training officer, administrative sergeant detective. Same with her list of certifications. I'm not going to read them all to you, but leadership development, crisis intervention, computer crime, high-tech investigations. As we are getting technology in this city, that will become important. Sexual assault investigations, crisis intervention and de-escalation, and cultural diversity, implicit bias, and racial profiling courses. She has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice management and a master's degree in law enforcement and public safety leadership. Take it away.
I don't have much to say, but thank you. I'm glad to be here. I've enjoyed it for the last couple of months, and I look forward to retiring from here.
Wow, that's great to hear. We love
That's
that.
my plan.
Oh, we love that. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, and last but not least, Officer Greg Anderson comes to us after serving honorably in the U.S. Navy, worked at the Yuba City Police Departments and the Los Rios Community College Police Department, where he was a sergeant. He's been a field training officer. He has a whole big list of items too, but I'll just pull out some ones that I liked: mental health intervention, crisis intervention, and de-escalation, as well as the implicit bias, racial profiling, and cultural diversity training. He is listed as competing in CrossFit competitions as one of the things he likes to do on his days off. So I am seeing a future police versus fire CrossFit competition
There we go.
at Pioneer Park. And Mr. Anderson.
Just I'm excited to be here. The last month has been amazing. Been excited to meet everyone. I have a lot more years till retirement, but I hope it's going to be here. So thank you for letting me work here for you guys.
Thanks for joining us. I hope we'll see you guys out at Night Out, the Color Run on Tuesday over at Pioneer Park, which is my kid's favorite police-involved event.
There's a lot of good events coming up. National Night Out is just on the tip. And that's the three we have for you this evening, Mr. Mayor.
All right, well, thank you so much. All right. Government Code Section 5495 4.3 provides that any member of the public may address the city council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exception, does not allow the council or staff to discuss issues brought forth under public comment. The council cannot take action on non-agendized items. Concern may be referred to staff or placed on a future agenda. Please note that comments from the public will also be taken on each agenda item at the time it is heard. So, do we have any public comment live? It doesn't look like it, unless Wendy wants to comment. No. Okay, Gabby in Cyberland? Nobody. All right.
No attendees.
Okay, let's talk about the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be approved by one motion. There is no separate discussion of these items. I am looking for a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar unless anybody wants to pull something.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
First by Daniela,
Second it.
second by Adam. One of the things I guess with the changing of the guard and the police, we usually get a police report, activity report as well, monthly? Or-
So on the second meeting, you get fire. On the first meeting, you get police, building, and finance report.
Now I know. Thank you. I wondered how that
And
worked.
there's none of them on there because this is which meeting?
Fire report, second meeting.
We have
Too
fire.
much action
We have
for the
fire. We have fire.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, so we've moved the consent item. All right. All right, business.
Did you vote? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry, got to vote. Could we do, all those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Are those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, it passes unanimously. All right, so we're going to go to business. We have some presentations from staff. This is all the Sean show, so
Yes.
let you take it away.
This is a relatively light agenda, and so obviously there's other things going on in the city, so nobody here to participate, but I'm sure people watching at home or watch on video. So the first item is consideration report on the appointment of your planning commissioners for this fiscal year. I know you know this, but for those watching at home, our planning commission plays a critical role in the city. You know, they are an advisory board to you all as the council on planning and development issues. They assure that our general plan, our zoning ordinance, and related plans are implemented. They do this by reviewing applications on a case-by-case basis, which can be very rewarding and very tedious at the same time. They do a lot of work for us. We are required to have a planning commission of some function. You don't have to have a separate one. You could do it yourselves. But it's very nice that we have a group of 5 dedicated volunteers that are willing to do that work on your behalf. So the commission is made up of 5 individual members. Every city does it a little bit different, but a relatively common process is what we have here, which is each individual council member appoints their planning commissioner. And so the appointment is not ratified by the council, but you're receiving and filing the appointments in your action this evening. Uniquely, I believe, in talking to our city clerk and our consulting city engineer, who's been with the city for 50 years as of August 1st, does not appear that we've ever had this scenario before where we have 2 new council members appointing 2 planning commissioners, but we are going to retain the same 5 planning commissioners that we had. I think that speaks volumes as to the effectiveness and efficiency of our current planning commission configuration. So I'm excited to see them, and I know Amy, your city planner, as well, is excited to see them continue with their work. So the action before you tonight really is just to receive and file Councilmember Klein's appointment of Wendy Ermshar and Councilmember Cece's appointment of Peter Van Zant. But really an opportunity also for you two and the whole council to thank your appointees. I think one of them's in the audience. She didn't leave.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you.
So the action would just be to receive and file, Mr. Mayor, but if you certainly would like to discuss anything about our planning commission, that would be appropriate.
Okay, does anybody from the table want to, oh, Gary.
I have a comment. You know, it's remarkable over the last couple of years to see where we've gone with the planning commission, and that we have such a talented, functional planning commission is a remarkable thing. Even though many on social media continue to complain, I suspect they always will whenever we have folks in a regulatory capacity. But I just want to say that you know, we've taken many, many strides in this city to be a better city, and that what has happened with the planning commission it's a great thing to be able to retain the quality, the consistency, and I surely thank my planning commissioner, and I thank all of you for doing a job I would never do, honestly.
Me neither.
So thank you all, and it's really going well, and you're just an incredible addition to the city, and the work you do is very important.
Thank you, Gary. Danielle, do you have any?
Nothing. Thank you.
Adam?
I'll just say, I heard from a number of people that the current planning commission was the best we've had in ages, and why change something that works? Wendy specifically received praises from all kinds of people all over the spectrum. We met up for lunch and discovered that we probably went to the same party together at some point in high school. Despite the fact she went to Bear River, I went to NU, I feel like this appointment brings those 2 schools of thought together in a really beautiful way. So thrilled to have you continue to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And I'd like to thank you, Adam, and you, Lou, for helping, you know, maintain that continuity. I do agree that the Planning Commission is doing an amazing job. I mean, I just can't say enough of how good the balance is right now in the commission. And keeping some of the legacy folks on, I think, is a power move just to keep us going in the right direction. So thank you, everyone. Okay.
So a motion to receive and file the appointments would be appropriate.
I so move.
Second.
All right, first by Lou, second by Gary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are those opposed? Any abstentions? Any recusals? It passes. All right.
All right, moving on, since I have all 3, Brian is with us on Zoom this evening, but I will take this one, should be relatively quick. This is a request that you authorize the purchase of a trailer-mounted generator that would provide battery or power backup here at City Hall. Thanks to the hard work of Brian and his team, the cabling and the infrastructure is already in place, ready to plug into this trailer-mounted generator. And the generator could serve other locations as well. And that's why we want to get it on a trailer so that it can be adaptable to our other facilities in town. Uniquely, we're using a multi-state competitive bid process through something called Sourcewell. They're actually out of Minnesota, of all places, but it ends up that we get a 30% discount over what would otherwise be our single purchase because it was competitively bid across the nation. And about half of this is funded out of PSPS grant, and the rest out of the general fund. So this will be a great addition to our infrastructure for the next Snowmageddon or whatever the next disaster is going to be that would allow City Hall to remain open. I offered to make coffee and, if the Wi-Fi is up, we have free Wi-Fi in the council chambers. So I know that communication with the outside world during the snow disaster was limited. So, coffee and communication goes a long way. So if City Hall can provide nothing but that, that would be great. The one downside of just about purchasing everything right now is it takes a long time to get here. So somewhere between 12 and 60 weeks after we issue the purchase order, we will receive this generator. So in the meantime, we will establish an on-call relationship with a couple of different regional rental companies so that if the need arose before we receive this generator, we could go pick up the equivalent from, one of these regional rentals, and we'd want to pick one that had multiple locations because it could be really bad snow here, but maybe in the Sacramento Valley, there's no issues at all. And, an hour drive to go get a generator to come back up here would be very well worth it.
On the way to work or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll go get it and drive up here. That's what this item is. The approval would also authorize me to issue the purchase order. The total is $62,055. That includes tax delivery, setup, and the like. We anticipate it'll actually be a little bit less than that because there's some testing that probably doesn't need to be done or could be observed by our fire department instead of paying another fire department to do it. But nonetheless, that is the top dollar. And like I said, Brian's with us on the Zoom tonight if you have any technical questions, but otherwise I'd appreciate it if you would approve us buying this generator to get here somewhere between October and 2024.
You said 60 weeks.
That is what they're telling us.
We won't be here.
Between 12 and 60.
It could be a council turnover.
That's like a cable, that's like the cable company time. All right, I guess we have to look to see if we have any public comment. Anybody here in the public like to make a comment on this item? Anybody in cyberspace?
Nobody.
Okay. I'll bring it back to the table. Anybody here? I'm not going to just go around. Does anybody want to talk about power? I want to make a comment too, of course. So I think back in the last administration here applied for a grant to cover this. It was an OES special district allocation grant or a version thereof. We wrote the grant for the little town of Washington, and they got 2 generators, one for their water treatment plant and one for the fire station, because when it gets cold, the fire trucks freeze, and that doesn't help. I think that grant will be opening up again. I don't know that we can sneak this into a grant if we purchase it before the grant period. Is it worthwhile to look at a grant like that? Do you want me to send you something, or?
I would love to look at that grant. We do need to expend the PSPS grant that we're using to fund this. Is actually a fiscal year 19 grant that was never closed out. So they're threatening to call in their marker and force us to return the money. So I would much rather spend it this evening with your permission.
Well, please do.
But we could look at the next round or the next trailer generator or
Sure.
the next facility using that grant. That would be great.
Is there any other facility? I mean, is our fire stations, are they already?
Fire station is this same grant also paid for a brand new, very nice, appropriately sized generator for your wastewater treatment facility.
Mm-hmm.
It's also much better for the environment as far as what it's, the exhaust it's producing.
Well, that's good.
And that the grant also paid for the infrastructure that is here as well.
Yeah, and that's like $20,000,
Yeah.
that hookup. Yeah. All right, great, thank you so much.
I move that we award the contract and authorize the city manager to execute related documents.
Second.
All right, first by Daniela, second by Gary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or opposition? Passes 5 to 0. All right, next, Sean.
Last one, N95s are a little bit warm, so I'm growing a mustache under here. This last item
Got
is
lipstick on.
consideration of you adopting Resolution 2022-57, resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City adopting a policy and permitting process for the scattering of cremated human remains on city property. So I know that sounds like a strange title, right? So let me just tell you the story of how this happened. First of all, I know that we have had cremated remains dispersed at activities in the city. I've participated in them as a kid at Pioneer Park, and I know ones have come out of the tails of airplanes coming out of Grass Valley Airport. And so it is something that people request occasionally. There are laws that go along with this that are required. I know from personal experience that, when someone in your family dies and you have them cremated, you have to get a permit for where those cremated remains live. And you actually, like in my case, they're at my house, and I can't technically take them from my house without amending that permit. There's that, which is a health department level. Any county can do that, amend that state. But then you also need owner's permission to distribute those ashes. It's not very much if you haven't seen, the urns often weigh a lot, but if you haven't seen cremated remains, they don't weigh very much. And so where this story starts and ends is with a request from the wife of a man named Les Ritzman. He lived in this area for a very long time. His son, Lynn Ritzman, is a Nevada Union graduate. Les was a lover of trains, and so his wish was that when he passed away, that his ashes be able to be distributed along the train tracks at the Narrow Gauge Railroad Museum. The city owns the Railroad Museum and the tracks associated with it, and so to get permission to do that, we have to have a process. So I'm not trying to make it about one person, but that's how we got here, and this process would allow us to do it for anyone. This doesn't make big piles of ash, no monuments are allowed, any of those kind of things. This is just your normal ceremonial, off the beaten path, be able to have remembrance of a loved one. So the resolution does that. It also charges or establishes a $12 fee. That is the same fee that the county will charge you to do the processing of that change of location of the distribution of the cremains in this case, and it just accounts for our staff time. And doing that consistent with our adopted master fee schedule that we adopted with the budget. With that, it's not much more complicated than that. It's something that could be done across the counter and safely done. There are limitations on where it can be done. It can't be done in bodies of water. It can't be done through aerial devices like drones or airplanes or other things like that. But there are a number of trails and scenic locations and city-owned property in the area that people would like to use for that purpose. So would appreciate your support on that item tonight.
Thank you, Sean. Is there any public comment here? Not seeing any. I'm going to ask you, Gabby, if there's anybody out there in cyberspace. So I'll bring it to the table. Does anybody want to comment on this item?
I was just going to say, it is one of those mysterious things in local government that you encounter from time to time. In running airports, I actually had to do a number of things with the FAA and counties and stuff like that so that people could distribute ashes from aircraft, which is fairly common. But you have to have an FAA certificate to modify your aircraft, to put the little funnel thing on it. It's just these things you run across, but absolutely support it. It's just one of those things that we govern.
Thank you. All right, so I'm looking for a motion to,
Just
Oh, sorry.
a note, this is how I disposed of my beloved remains, Don, 22 years ago, August 15th. And it really does something for those who want to do this kind of dispersal, to have their loved one associated with a particular area, a geographic area, in his case, Bolinas, which is his beloved home. So I'm glad that we are doing this.
great, thanks for giving it some context. So I am now looking for a motion, not hearing any other comments, looking for a motion to adopt the resolution as stated.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All right, first by Lou, second by Adam. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? It passes 5-0. All right.
All right.
All right, so now we're going to go to our city manager's report, and I'm going to say that you get a pass this week, if you want.
I'll give you two things. First, the Judicial Council of California met 2 weeks ago and updated their 5-year capital improvement program. They did it on the consent calendar, so there was no discussion, there was no anything. Hidden inside that item, if you dig really deep into the spreadsheets, is the proposal for the new Nevada City Courthouse. Total project costs about $176 million, and it does entail the likely relocation of the courthouse, but not the guaranteed relocation of the courthouse. So they are actively looking for sites. We anticipate continuing to participate with the county and the courts in that process. The county is pulling together a committee to do that work so that we can all be stakeholders in that process. It's unlikely that much, other than looking, that much things would happen until January, that this would be in the draft budget for next fiscal year. And it's also, the land acquisition decision would probably not happen until May. Nonetheless, we want to be involved as we go. And then ultimately, we also need to remain engaged on, if they do move the courthouse, what happens with the existing building. And it's about a 5 to 6 year turnaround until that building would be unoccupied, giving us about a 3 to 4 year opportunity to plan and then deliver on that plan, so that if it was deoccupied, we could put something, higher and better use in its place. And the last thing is our strategic planning sessions, August 3rd and 17th. So next week here, Wednesday, 5:30 at City Hall. We have about 40 confirmed participants for the in-person activities. So would still love to have anybody show up that wants to. Welcome to email me or call me if you want to sign up. We will have surveys that cover the same topic after the workshops. For those that can't attend the workshops or, choose not to, or have other reasons why it's just not available to them. We start next week with reviewing our mission, vision, values, the services provided by the city, assessing our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and really digging into the perception of our service delivery at a big level, not really drilled down in detail yet. And so this is workshop 1, and then we'll springboard from that into the next workshop on August 17th. Great opportunity for anyone interested in the future of Nevada City to comment or to share their voice. And even if you come, you don't have to talk. So I will be there, and I'll be talking, others will be talking, but you can have your voice heard by writing it down or by sending us an email. Certainly, people are welcome to come to the event and not talk if that's their preferred method of, getting the information and then giving it back to us with their opinion in some other method. So would love to have anybody and everybody that has an interest in the future of the city there. And I will leave it at those two things. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Sean. And just for my edification, you don't want council members there because it's a little bit off-putting?
No, so that's a perfect question. And so for the community, don't expect that your council members will be there and stay, because it creates a Brown Act issue for them to participate in that meeting. It may be that you see some of them or all of them at the beginning of the meeting to say hi and thank you to those participating, but they won't be active participants in any of these meetings. But they will handle the same work product at future public special council meetings, where we funnel all that information that we gather from the people that participate to the council to make decisions. So great question. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. All right, now it's time for council members' reports and committee reports. Lou, I don't expect you guys to have much, but I think you might have something, Lou?
Yes, Adam and I went to visit the water treatment plant and the the waste disposal plant a week ago, Monday. That would have been the 18th, I think. And I'm happy to report that due to the efficiency of the plant operation and the citizens of this community, we had the best year of efficient use of water. we didn't have to rely on NID water until June, and that's probably the latest in the year that it's been in a number of years. That said, there are other opportunities to increase the efficiency of our water use and still assure our water supply without increasing costs to the individual citizen.
That's awesome. That's the way you do it. I love that. All right, thank you, Lou. Daniela?
Nothing to report.
Gary?
No, I'll take a pass. I got nothing. Oh, I did want to comment on the quality of Councilmember Klein's social media invitation to the planning session, the strategic planning session. It was quite lively. My wife shoved it in my face this morning. Look at this. It was very well done, and I think it was a great invitation.
Nice.
But I just learned that I'm not going to be able to be there, and I said, I'll be there. So I'll be doing another one that your wife will shove in your face that says, I won't be there, but you have fun.
I'm going to make her do it after lunch instead of before breakfast.
Yeah. I'll talk to her about that. Don't Lou and I had these great tours, so interesting. Mike's doing a great job. It's comforting to know that someone so knowledgeable is in charge of that very important stuff that we can often take for granted. We also had a great tour with Parks and Rec with Dawn. Again, I love Pioneer Park. I live right by it. You live closer. It's fine. It's not a competition. I'm just very thankful for all the people that I'm meeting over the course of becoming a council person, and the staff is incredible here, and I'm really thankful for that. On a personal note, I just want to say I play music, and therefore I have some friends who have struggled with alcoholism and addiction. That stereotype is true, and they have just hit some very important milestones in their sobriety, and I'm not going to blow up their names or anything, but I just want to say I'm proud of them. And anyone who struggles with the same thing, I mean this sincerely, if these guys can do it, you absolutely can.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's what I got.
Thank you, Adam. I don't have much. I went to my first mayors and managers meeting at Calio, California Organics, that was attended by Grass Valley and the county. It was interesting. We focused mainly on the half-cent sales tax initiative that's being spearheaded by the county. It was interesting to get Chief Buttrin's opinion on it, and so I guess that sort of fed Grass Valley's opinion that more money should go to the responders. There's a responder out there. And, less to mitigation and vegetation management or defense or whatever. And so it was just interesting to hear that. There wasn't a lot more there other than that. It was interesting, and I think that we've all gotten a little bit of information about the sales tax initiative that's going on, and, I encourage you guys to engage and, make your voices heard on what you guys think is needed, because there's some input needed in that too, I think. I think we have a great relationship with the county these days, and I think, our approach would sort of follow county protocol a little bit, and, there's some good reasons why. There's some details to be worked out as far as allocations of funding and projects that we can do together and sharing of resources. So that was interesting. I have to give a shout out, while I'm talking about first responders, to our first responders and our police department, our fire department, and Consolidated Grass Valley. There was a structure fire right near our house on Gracie. It was actually my kid's friend's house, and there was some real concern that there were people trapped in the house. The kids weren't accounted for. Officer Rhodey informed us pretty quickly that all people were accounted for. The dog was accounted for. The cat was up the tree. And so it was just nice to see them in action, and they really stopped a fire that could have spread to the neighboring house, to the vegetation around there, and could have been catastrophic. And so I just was proud of our first responders. I just have to say that. Not because there's one here either. It was just nice to see. And then, I think that's about it for this point of the game. And so I am going to look for a motion to adjourn. Did I get a record? Oh, 7. I'm starting to
I'll second Daniela's movement to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned. All right, that's the record. 35 minutes.
That's great.
All right.